know what Sony had? The Holy Trinity. Leo, Brad, and Margot. Who do you have?
Hello and welcome to a very special bonus episode of Boy Party. We are doing a sort of a instant review, instant reaction, special discussion of one of the biggest movies of the year. It is a sequel to a movie we've done an episode on before, which I think is something that hasn't really happened in the last couple of years while we've been doing this podcast. And it's in cinemas this weekend, so we came here to discuss it. My name is Lucien Waddaly, and I am joined by Shane Kelly.
Good evening. Do we call these immediate reactions the after party, or is that something else?
There was,
Sure. Who cares?
The after party brand has kind of vanished, but we will. The after party, I think, the after party is more so for like lists and drafts.
Okay.
I think this is more just like, this is a new thing we haven't done before, which is like half an episode on a movie that we've already talked about this exact combination of stars. So it's just kind of a follow up.
Yeah, we're not really diving into the careers.
No, this is Devil Wears Prada 1.5.
Yeah.
Katie Brady, our guest on our Devil Wears Prada episode, amazingly has not seen this film yet, although we have, despite being one of its biggest advocates. So by the time you hear this, Katie, I hope you enjoyed the film.
Miranda would be disappointed in you, Katie.
She would be disappointed in you. So we're going to jump straight in and just talk about what happens in this film, which I think we both really enjoyed. And I would say I think is significantly better than the original film.
I think my bar was quite low for this.
Yeah,
given the string of legacy sequels we've been getting. I expected cheap.
Yes, absolutely.
Cheap interiors, cheap limited cinematography, or any sort of making
lack of directorial ambition.
A lack of a functional film. Really,
and
was kind of the baseline
cheap
here.
Crowd pleasing references galore. And like, there's a little bit of that at the start, but I found this film was not trying to tick every box of the different memes and the different jokes and the different quotes that have spun out of the original film. And like, the marketing is full of it. And like,
absolutely, 100%.
Every Instagram post about this film is like, gird your loins, girls, Devil Wears Prada 2. And like, no one says that in this film. Like, none of the stupid, annoying shit that is like exists.
No,
on the internet.
this is thankfully a functional standalone film.
And you can kind of, like, the throwbacks and the references, you can almost sum up well in the way that in the final scene, Anne Hathaway wears like a version of the blue sweater from the first movie, but they made it into like a cool sweater vest.
Right.
And it's almost like that's kind of the whole film's attitude of like,
it's like fashion. It's an evolution.
Yeah, there are these iconic images from the first movie, but we're going to kind of like compress them into something new and interesting and cool rather than just like throw the shit in your face again.
Yeah.
So I think it's quite successful, and I think like people who love the original movie are probably going to really enjoy it because it's just like really entertaining.
Yeah, and there's reasonably interesting career arcs that characters have had since the last one, where they have kind of semi-interesting jobs now relative to where they were. It doesn't do a crazy job of hyper-identifying the shift from like print media to online.
It's
and
just taken for granted
that
that's happened. It doesn't make too much of a big fuss about it. I think it's a film that kind of like, maybe you could argue doesn't do right by the Miranda character in how she's written in the first movie, because she, like, as in this, the first movie is a nasty boss movie, and the whole film is structured around the relationship between the employee and the boss, and how that manifests in tasks she's given and challenges she has to overcome. And that makes that film a little bit dull, I think, because it really is filling just a very basic template. Whereas this film is so much more, has so much more room to play and navigate in, because it doesn't fulfill that. But also
she's immediately stripped of her power.
Immediately.
Because her industry is on the back foot.
I think quite quickly is established in this film as a heroic figure. And I don't think this movie has any interest in painting Miranda as a bad guy after maybe the first act. And she carries with her the dignity and the kind of the respectable thing that Meryl Streep always has, without the nastiness and pettiness of the first movie. And I think that I like ended up really warming to her really quickly, which takes a little bit of the venom out of the film, but also I think makes it like a way more satisfying, like, girls teaming up to save a magazine.
It is. No, like, thinking back, I might be misremembering bits, but I don't like the first two acts of this are kind of defined by Miranda's complacency and lack of desire to kind of really to fight.
She's tired and old.
She's tired and old.
And can't really fight the good fight anymore. And Andy has to step up with, the help of Emily to save Runway because even the idea that like Miranda's place in the world is as this like sort of guardian and savior of this iconic, they say century-old brand.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think in the first movie Miranda is set up as being like a person who keeps watch over something important. Miranda is like a petty, materialistic person with
I get the sense from the first one that she is the arbiter of the culture, like,
right, and we're meant to respect that part of her character.
I think so. I think what she says goes. What she approves is the trend for the year.
I guess it's just because in this movie I'm like, wow, it's great we have people like Miranda who are out there defending the honor of print media, and I feel like
I don't even think she is.
First movie you never feel that way, but in this, she ends up being that, because by the end of the film you're like, oh, we're so lucky to have Mirandas in the world, to like these women in power who stand up for what's right, who kind of are, conservative in a positive way, this film would tell you, in terms of like they don't want to see these stupid techie shifts forward. And we should.
I know, but how much of this is driven by her just lack of desire to be publicly embarrassed? And like she's not doing this on a save her employees' jobs. Like there's no shift into respecting her employees here.
No,
there's no more empathy.
It's not about her employees.
No, not at all.
It's about the magazine.
But I don't.
She care more about the magazine surviving than about herself. In this movie, I think yes.
I disagree. Okay. Like her speech at the end is a protection of striving for beauty and human mastery and perfection.
Yes,
which I think
it's an anti-AI thing.
It's an anti-AI thing. I think it's more her fondness for the traditions of the fashion industry more than the magazine industry.
Yeah,
I think she's a fashion person, not a magazine person.
Sure. But the fact that she wants to, I guess the fact she wants to defend anything, the survival of anything.
She's not driven by money at all.
Traditional. Not money, and I think in this film, it didn't feel to me like she was driven by personal vanity and egotism as much as by a greater fight that she had in her. Anyway, I think it helps that we meet her husband, and he's a classical musician. Mm-hmm. Kenneth Branagh, who I knew was in this movie, he's not in it very much.
No.
It's a weirdly muted use of Kenneth Branagh.
Doing the most tolerable Kenneth Branagh.
Very tolerable.
Possible. Yeah.
I know. Me calling Kenneth Branagh tolerable is quite the praise. Like,
he was
drives me nuts.
Pretty good in this.
He's very good in this. He plays her husband, obviously a new husband, and he's
not a gimmick.
No,
he is successfully a reflection of her.
Yeah,
which explains more about her.
He's in a classical quartet. And he seems like a really nice guy, and he's really nice to Andy, and he's just like seems nice and supportive to Miranda as well.
Yeah.
And like once you see that the husband is like a person of like real culture, I think you start to maybe recontextualize Miranda as like, and also, sorry, she has like Jean Baptiste at her home.
Yeah.
And all these like interesting people. So it's like, oh, she operates in circles of like high culture and music, and she's not just some fucking business CEO kind of she's tyrant. Like the first movie,
she's a culture tyrant, not a business tyrant.
Yeah, whereas like the first film, she's kind of a business tyrant. So I don't know. I liked her a lot in this. I thought she was a likable character, which is like the last thing you expect. And like the title of the movie just doesn't apply here. The devil moniker really doesn't come into play in this second film.
No.
Nor does the brand Prada.
The Devil Wears Lululemon is like kind of the new way of this.
Yeah. So we've got the devil wears a ball cap.
She wasn't fully redeemed for me in this. Like there's still a lot of nastiness to her. And even in the car with Andy towards the end, she's still like not like, maybe that's just her trying to cling on to her previous power.
Well, look, there's a quote in this movie that I loved, which is someone called or Stockholm called. They want their syndrome back.
Yeah.
And the film ends on a note that left me thinking about that, because I was like, this movie is so comfortable in the Stockholm syndrome of the characters.
Yeah.
This is ultimately a film about kind of two characters, Hathaway and Tucci, who are so addicted to working for this horrible person that drives them insane that they just end the movie with a big smile on their face. And that when Meryl Streep says something nasty to Anne Hathaway in the last scene, Anne Hathaway gets this like rush of blood. Yeah. And you can see that it is a thrill for her to be abused.
There's a pretty explicit reference to Jesus Christ in this.
Yeah.
Where they have dinner in the room with the Last Supper painted on the wall. And like, I think that kind of is the relationship that like Miranda is Jesus to these people.
Yeah. And she is kind of the last messiah of magazines.
Yeah, and she must die for their sins. I don't know.
It's interesting. The movie does re-establish the Emily Blunt character as the villain for a little while, and then it kind of goes back on it. She's like,
no, she ultimately.
The movie ends with her being friends with Andy again.
Just about, but the kind of pivot into the final act is her being revealed as the villain.
Yeah,
the Judas in
a very silly scene.
Yeah,
where she just basically like Miranda is like, Andy, you idiot, you don't know what she's planning, and then it just cuts back to Emily Blunt, and she just goes from making a nice face to an evil face. It's ridiculous. Emily Blunt, terrible actress.
I think she's fine in this.
Oh, I think she's dreadful. I think she's the weakest element of this by far.
Yeah.
She's really.
I disagree.
She's really bad. Like
I unfortunately think the faceless Australian man is the weakest element of this.
I liked him.
I don't know. It was so out of place.
How did he end up in this movie?
How the fuck did he end up in this?
It's incredible. Like, did they audition loads of random actors for that part, and then they liked that guy so much that they rewrote the character as Australian? Because there was no need for him to be Australian other than that one Hugh Jackman joke.
Is he?
It reminds me of The Dry, season 3, the Australian guy.
He's not famous. A plant by a construction company?
The character. Well, maybe.
Did they give $50 million to the production of Devil Wears Prada?
To make a nice property developer character.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he could have been played by someone famous.
I know.
Nonetheless. Like when we saw a cast list of this, it was like BJ Novak and Justin Theroux. Yeah. Two very possible love interests.
Yes. Age appropriate, like
famous,
the whole lot.
Age appropriate. And they ended up with this fucking random Australian guy in one of the biggest movies of the year.
What?
And I respect it because I thought he was charming. I was really charmed by him. And I thought it was really effective propaganda for the property developer class.
It's really funny, though, that he does not interact with anyone else.
No. It's like all the scenes were shot in a vacuum with her. It is incredible. It's like, he's in scenes with her friend, the black woman.
Sorry, yes. But again, she doesn't exist with the rest of them.
No, they exist in a vacuum. Yeah. Incredible.
And like, there's no... Andy's relationship with Miranda never becomes a topic of conversation in her relationship there.
It's weird, right?
Very strange.
Because in the first movie,
that's all it is.
The Adrian Grenier relationship, is defined by she never shuts up about Miranda. Yeah. So I guess they overcompensated in this one and were like, she will not bring work home.
Yeah.
All she talks to him about is his work and just kind of general stuff and houses and apartments. Anyway.
It is very strange that she's immediately charmed by him. Like he's kind of ordinary. Like
I liked him though. I don't know.
Yeah.
I thought she was great in this. I think it helps that we saw her in Mother Mary last week, where I thought she was not good.
No, she's doing a bit of like Hugh Grant, 4 Weddings and a Funeral,
ticky nonsense.
Ticky nonsense. Yeah,
I agree,
which now that I'm alert to it,
but when
annoys
Anne
me.
Hathaway does ticky nonsense, I'm just like, oh, I'll watch this all day.
I don't know.
It doesn't take much for Anne Hathaway to charm me if she's being kind of like fun and bubbly. I on the contrary, I have absolutely no tolerance for her when she's like on the verge of bursting into tears like she is in Mother Mary. But I thought she was good in this.
Weirdly not similar to Mother Mary, but like Anne Hathaway in a fashion thing with a domineering presence.
Yeah. I see what you mean.
Some similarities there.
It's about Jesus too.
Yeah.
I thought her and Streep were like very switched on and were doing a good job of recapturing those characters, you know?
I think they were like reasonably happy to be there.
Yeah, they did seem happy to be there. Like they actually, I thought they had a lot of life in them and they seemed really energized and I thought it was nice. And
I think they are probably quite fond of the brand.
I was just so happy to go to the cinema and see an Anne Hathaway movie where she's living in a city and has a job. I say this about Pattinson, and I said this about who did I say this about 2 weeks ago?
Oh,
Daniel Craig.
Yeah,
There's just some actors that are in a lot of period stuff and horror and thrillers and shit where they're just like not living a nice life.
Yeah.
And Anne Hathaway is one of those people in the last 10 or 15 years. When Anne Hathaway is just playing a beautiful woman.
Well, she's playing Dakota Johnson.
She's a beautiful woman with a nice life, with friends and relationships and jobs. I'm just like, this is all I want for my movie stars. The people in the 80s and 90s, they got to see Meg Ryan do this 10 times. And I've only got to see Anne Hathaway do it like like 3 times.
Yeah.
And I love Anne Hathaway. She's great in this role. Then you've got the Tucci performance, which I did like a lot. I think I like him more in this than in the first one. I'm convinced that he chose to play this character as incredibly suicidally depressed.
He is.
He seems so miserable. And
does he have a partner in the first film?
No, I don't think so.
And he doesn't.
And when he goes out to read the speech in Milan, when they basically have this beautiful moment where Miranda is like, I've been taking you for granted all along. You should put yourself out there as a face of runway. Here, you wrote the speech anyway. Go read it. And he goes out on stage, and you're like, this is going to be his big moment. And maybe this is just my reading of it, but he's there and he's like, hello, I am here today to talk about runway. As well. And he starts flipping through the cards, and he's so flat, and you're like, no, he doesn't have it in him. His heart's not in it at all. He's so fucking miserable.
Miranda was right all along.
Yeah, exactly.
He doesn't have the juice.
He seems so miserable. And then at the final scene of the film, he reveals to Andy in a shocking twist that it was him who got her hired back at Runway.
Yeah.
And he's like, it was me all along. You're my girl. And it's not like it's a flat performance. It's that he seems to be consciously refusing to let this character ever express any genuine joy. And when he says he's going for dinner,
he says he has been passed over for promotion time and time and time again. Like, and he seems to have just resigned to.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Also, just to note okay, finish your two.
No, I'm done.
I was just going to say, this opens with Anne Hathaway revealing that she has been a journalist for the last 20 years.
Yes.
Which is an interesting setup.
Because she wasn't a journalist. Yeah, she was fashion assistant.
I don't even know what she was. I guess she was like a business student, and she was like, this is just
I think
a job,
I think she was a fashion graduate.
Was she a fashion graduate? Okay.
So. Maybe not. No, because like, sure. No, I don't think so. She doesn't particularly wear crazy outfits.
Because the plot point to the first one is that like she's taking it away from someone who would die to be in a fashion magazine. Yeah. She's not really a fashion
person, I guess.
Yeah.
But
anyway. It's a funny pivot that
she's a serious journalist. A pretty silly scene where they're at like an awards ceremony and they all find out they've lost their jobs. This is the first 3 minutes of the movie. Yeah. Very silly. So she immediately then this coincides with it's all very newsroom, very margin call. This part, it's all like what's happening in the dead of night.
Yeah.
BJ Novak shows up, Mr. Newsroom himself. I must say, I would have far preferred Chris Messina in this role, and he could have done it, and it would have made sense, and it would have been better. BJ Novak just like he'll never be.
But he's got the Weasley little tech, modern tech man. Like
Chris Messina's got that too.
Does he?
Yeah, he does. So basically, he shows up in the car with his dad, who is the owner of the magazine. Is this guy in the first film? I don't think so.
No,
this is an actor I'm not familiar with. I ththought he was actually really good. But it was like
I think the culture has become familiar with the oligarchy in the last 20 years.
You have
so
to
they're like
succession it up a bit.
Yeah, 100%.
So you've got this guy called
Ivan or
Irv.
Irv.
I'm trying to find the actor's name. Is he even on here? He's pretty good, and he is Tibor Feldman. He's kind of like, I don't know. He's like a sort of Charles Grodin, Jack Nicholson looking guy. Oh, he is in the first movie. Okay. He basically dies though at the end of the first act, right?
Yes. In what it's setting itself up to be Miranda gets her comeuppance, where she is being touted and gassed up for this big promotion, and it's going to be announced at the dinner, and you think it's going to be the Tucci scene from the first one.
Yeah.
And then he just dies, and I guess it's the same thing in a different way.
Yeah.
But it's a good fake out on
it is good.
Repeating a plot line.
The death scene is very funny. Although I must say, Anne Hathaway far too upset at his funeral. She's there. She's in Mother Mary mode. Like, okay, now, granted, context. We went to a funeral yesterday.
Yeah.
So I am in the headspace of a person at a very sad funeral. When I see Anne Hathaway at the fucking funeral of a random wealthy business guy in his 80s, and she's like, this is very sad. I'm like, bit of an overreaction. You barely know the guy. But anyway, Emily Blunt at the funeral with her new partner, who is Justin Theroux as Harry from Dumb and Dumber. He is playing a character who was
what kind of prosthetic slash makeup does he have going here?
Well, it's a bald cap with a receding hairline.
I think that's his hairline.
No, it's not.
I think they just gave him a really shit haircut.
No, I think they gave him a fake receding hairline.
They might have cut it back a little bit.
They put a bald cap on the front of his head with fake bad hairline.
But he has quite a recessed hairline.
Does he?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. I don't know.
It's probably not as extreme as what's in that. They did something to his neck. They gave him like a fake neck.
They did. He looks nuts.
And his teeth look kind of funny. I don't know. It's him. You look at it.
So good in this. It's so good that he got this
so
role.
fun.
I'm so glad they
So-
cast him. That could have easily been a role they gave to a comedy actor.
Yeah.
That could have been Rob
No, but
Riggle.
look, he did this 2 years ago in Beetlejuice.
But
And
it's
he
so
was
much
shit.
better. It's so much better here.
He was so
Why
shit.
has he become the go-to guy to play the awful new husband in a legacy sequel? I don't know. I guess it's probably the exact fee he'll work for.
Yeah.
Is like
Fifth build. Well, he's fourth on this, I think.
He's fourth, sure, if you count Tucci as the and. But like fifth build in a really huge movie where he won't be on the poster, and most people won't know who he is. They'll be like, I kind of recognize that guy. Really interesting, like, period in his career.
Also, it's funny to cast. He's very, very handsome man.
And cast him as this ugly guy.
Yeah.
So the premise of his character is that he was a fat guy who got loads of surgery to get thin and took loads of Ozempic.
Yeah.
So there's pictures of him CGI.
But he's also like a tech multi-billionaire.
So he's gotten divorced from
Lucy
Liu, who I didn't know was going to be in this.
Good casting
who's
there,
like
I think.
seventh build, which is just crazy.
Yeah.
We did a whole episode about Lucy Liu. She's a leading woman.
Yeah.
Like.
So she got half his cash essentially.
Yeah.
And
so they
has disappeared from public life.
Yeah. So they scoop an interview with her.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, he is going and flirting and going out with Emily Blunt, and he ends up being like crucial because they're trying to get him to buy the magazine, and BJ Novak ends up getting a better offer from
his wife.
His
ex-wife.
His wife, who Andy and Miranda have schmoozed, basically.
Yeah. It is a bit of a Succession by the company kind of thing.
It's Succession newsroom stuff.
Yeah.
There's an element the element I didn't like was the Gen Z shit, which is really bad.
But it wasn't too bad.
I
think they got a lot of it out of the way at the beginning.
Bad. Yeah, I think there's two female assistant characters, and then there's Caleb Heron, who I really like, and he's really funny.
Sorry, I like the first assistant girl,
the English girl.
Yes,
not the Asian American girl.
No.
Okay. I didn't like her. No, I thought she was annoying. I thought she.
I thought she had.
She was doing an impression of Emily Blunt in the first.
Fine,
movie.
but for someone who had kind of a presence and is a gimmick character, she didn't have gimmicks to do. She played it pretty straight.
Yeah,
apart
she was
from,
fine. She was fine.
There's one or two like who throws out Chanel kind of shit.
That's just cringy. Like the script is the problem here. There's just cringy jokes. Like all the jokes that are in the trailers are so bad.
Terrible, yeah.
Like,
but again, I'm pretty...
Look who TJ Maxx dragged in off the street. Like,
but again, I'm pretty sure they get all this shit out of the way in the first act.
I know they do. Then, Caleb Heron, it was really, really funny.
Yeah.
He is literally parked behind a desk for the entire movie. He's in like 3 scenes.
Charity the Chair or whatever
I'd say that every gay actor under 35 wanted that part. And you know what? There's not much to it. So I don't think it'll give his career much of a boost, unfortunately.
No.
It's fine. Then you've got... Who else we got in here? Rachel Bloom is playing Andy's friend, who's like a book publishing person who's trying to get the book about... So Andy's basically...
Sorry, there's a subplot
secret
going on.
mission. This gets forgotten about for like an hour.
It does.
Where Andy is meant to secretly be writing a book about Miranda while she's working with her. They did not commit to that. They should have left it out. They should have cut it out. It's not worth having in there. They didn't do enough of it.
It also doesn't conclude with her writing the book or anything. Sorry, like Miranda says at the very end, like she knew all along that Andy was there to write a book, and she's like, "Oh, write it with all the flaws in it. Who cares? Whatever."
Yeah, which is nice. And again, is what part of why I like Miranda, because I'm like in this movie, I'm like Miranda is actually like she's kind of owning the controversy of her persona in a way that is probably productive. Lady Gaga shows up.
Yes.
One of the maybe 10 greatest line deliveries of Meryl Streep's career, walking into a room and going, Gaga. Just brilliant.
Yeah. No, like that is getting the first person you called.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is great. It's good to
but
get
but it's funny. John Legend pulls out because they won't ship his piano over. And Tucci, this scene is very awkwardly written. Tucci's like, you wouldn't be able to call in a favor, Miranda. And Miranda's like, no, I won't do it. And they don't reveal who she's talking about for like half an hour.
Which I was like, okay, there's someone coming.
I knew Gaga was in the movie.
I didn't.
So that was...
I wasn't sure who it was. It would have been my first guess. But then again, you never know who.
It would have to be. I think to build an entire scene around that reference, it would have to it would have to be Madonna or Gaga, or Taylor Swift.
No, she doesn't fit the
vibe of the movie. It
I
had
was
to be
like,
one
maybe
of those two.
Dua Lipa, but that's a bit too modern.
I would say Dua Lipa would not. Dua Lipa is more someone who would show up in one of the random party scenes in this with fucking Jenna Bush Hager, Ciara, some of these like K-pop stars, Naomi Campbell, Christina didn't trust me to know my shit. She leaned across and said, "That's Donatella Versace," and I said, "I know what Donatella Versace looks like."
She has quite a distinct look.
I watched the show Versace, American Crime Story. Anyone else funny cameo in this? Oh, fucking Chicken Shop herself, and
fresh off an appearance in Industry.
Yes, and Rory McIlroy.
Oh, Jesus Christ!
Rory McIlroy, who is in a scene with
his wife, I guess.
Yeah, but who are they talking to?
Meryl.
They're talking to Justin Theroux.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And Emily Blunt walks over.
Yeah, I just think it's an insane little moment where Rory McIlroy says, like,
man with zero drip.
He was in Happy Gilmore as well. He has such fucking lack of presence on screen. Why is he in this?
I don't know.
He has nothing to do with this world.
Not the slightest. But he's
crazy.
Static. Like, ask Tiger Woods.
Yeah. Maybe
he's busy.
Yeah, he was in town when they were filming it. I don't know.
But like that, like, is that... Yeah, I don't know. Like, get Lewis Hamilton, like.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, he's a more of a visual
icon,
I suppose.
The score was done by Theodore Shapiro, who is really talented. He did the music for... Sorry, he actually did do the first movie. But he did the movie music for Severance, and he did The Housemaid very recently, and I thought the score was excellent. The Italian elements have really fun little things going on. You've got this incredible like Godfather theme kind of remix that goes out when the girls are on the boat, and then when Meryl is standing in the middle of the square in Milan and the camera's panning around her, there's this like beautiful like Italian thing that,
and it's really there, like
really there, and it comes back in the credits, and it's like very moving. I really liked it. I can't remember the last time I was not bored by like a fucking really big budget mainstream movie. We're cynical about the first movie though, like.
Yeah, but I was like going into this with pure cynicism. This is going to be complete trash.
And I was rolling my eyes for the first few minutes, and then I was like
the marketing was dreadful.
I'm so charmed now. Like this is incredibly functional, entertaining media.
Yes, it was committed to being a real film.
Yeah, and it was about the media business and the entertainment industry and things I'm really interested in. And
just from a craft perspective, they shot on location.
Really good. Yeah, it looks expensive and good, and like the fucking New York establishing shots on a giant cinema screen are just really satisfying. And I felt this way with Materialists as well, where I was just like, you never get to see a fucking modern New York movie.
And it's good. It's streets I recognize. I've walked down those streets. I know the building that they like shot it in.
And the final shot of the film, which you identified as Working Girl homage, is maybe really cool. It's very where they're basically
like Anne Hathaway walks up to the window of her skyscraper.
Camera pulls out the window.
Camera like goes through the window,
and then you see Tucci in the room next door. You see Streep in the next room over. It's great.
It pans up to the skyline of New York.
Anything else we should say before we wrap up? Any other moments?
Like any good film, it goes to Italy for half an hour.
And like any good film, Lady Gaga's in it. And there's a couple of Luciens on the end credits. The ending was good. Wraps up nice and quickly.
It doesn't do like 4 endings, which
nice and satisfying.
Which these things are like to have a tendency to do. I think to just appease everyone.
Is this the best Lego sequel of the last couple of years?
You prefer it to Maverick?
Well, I don't like Maverick at all.
I think it functions similar to Maverick in that it's its own thing.
Yeah, but you know what it doesn't do? It doesn't do the lazy thing it could have done, which would be Anne Hathaway is the boss now. Sydney Sweeney works for her, and Meryl Streep is the fucking old matriarch. That is the lazy thing that Lego sequels do. Is just new generation. The original hero slots into the.
I was waiting for Anne Hathaway to get the new job when Miranda gets promoted or whatever.
It's so refreshing that there's no young star. But it's good. That's slotted in here. Like even the Malcolm in the Middle reboot has done that. There's no need to introduce a new generation when Anne Hathaway is still at the peak of her powers. Is a young face, and Emily Blunt is more famous than she's ever been.
No, has the billing order changed here at all?
I'm sure Emily Blunt was probably like 6th billed in the first one. Yeah. I'd say she bumped up a bit. I mean, this is probably the last movie Emily Blunt will ever be 3rd billed in.
Yeah,
it is unusual.
But it's unfortunately
it's how it worked out.
You can't argue against that.
Branagh not working unless he gets a with or an and. He won't do it. I can't think of a case where it's ever happened. I really don't like Emily Blunt, unfortunately, and I think she in the Disclosure Day trailer is bringing my anticipation for that movie down quite a bit. If you swapped her out for Hathaway, Chastain, or anyone else, I would be so much more excited for that film.
Yeah.
There's just not enough of them. There's not enough 45-year-old leading women. There's really only a couple, and it's crazy.
Yeah.
And I think we need more, and we need more quickly. And Carrie Coon should be one of them.
Yes.
She should be in Disclosure Day.
She should. That'd be so much better.
Dakota obviously is just a little bit younger. Saoirse, Jesse, the three of them are off filming together now.
Yeah.
Keira Knightley.
Yeah,
Keira Knightley in Disclosure Day would be more exciting.
Sure.
Yeah. So that's it. Devil Wears Prada 2. I'm shocked to say a big recommendation.
Gets a thumbs up.
2 thumbs up. It's going to make an extraordinary amount of money, and I'm not going to be mad now. And I'm so glad. It's so nice not to be angry when something succeeds.
Out of the expected 5 Hathaway films this summer.
So what's my anticipated ranking at the end of the year going to be? I'm going to say by the end of the year.
Before you saw Mother Mary, what were you?
Well, I don't know.
All right.
Mother Mary would have probably been in the middle somewhere if I was.
Yeah.
I'm going to say now. Okay, so I'm going to say Odyssey obviously is probably going to be number 1.
Yeah.
Number 2 is probably going to be this.
Yeah.
I'd say number 3 is going to be Verity. Number 4 is going to be End of Oak Street, and number 5 is Mother Mary. I'm really hoping Mother Mary is the worst of one I see.
Yeah, you go to run there. Sorry, if Mother Mary is the worst film you make out of 5,
yeah,
I think that's a good
problem.
stretch.
Is that the floor on End of Oak Street is like bottomless.
Oh, 100%.
That could be a 1-star disaster.
Yeah, absolutely,
very easily. Verity, I can't see being a 1-star movie because ultimately, I think.
That Colin Hoover shtick.
Dakota and Hathaway together is just kind of going to be enough for me to be like, yeah, I had fun.
Yeah.
Even if the movie's absolute dog shit, which it probably will be. But sorry, that's a Michael Showalter film. I think it's actually being made at like a slightly higher standard than the other Colin Hoover movies. Showalter has made good stuff.
Will we do an Anne Hathaway character in the Golden Boys next year? Will
there be an Anne Hathaway performance nominated? You're saying
no? I'm saying we have 5 nominees for a category.
Yeah. I think there's a good chance. No, there's a moderate chance Justin Theroux gets the Best Supporting Actor Golden Boy nomination. We'll see. It would be a perverse nomination.
He might get an all moments mention as well.
And if the year goes really poorly, I'd be fucking happy to nominate Anne or Meryl. Yeah. I think they're both really good in this. Thanks for tuning in.
Thank you.
You can check out our Crimes of the Future episode with Brendan, which is this week's official Real Boy Party episode. Mm-hmm. And on Tuesday or Wednesday, you'll be able to hear us discuss The Shawshank Redemption, Frank Darabont's classic 1990s prison drama.
Yep.
Tim Robbins, Morgan Freeman. And then next week, we'll be talking about Dumb and Dumber with Jim Carrey and Jeff Daniels. Great stuff coming up on the show. Visit boypartypod.com. Follow Boy Party Pod on Instagram. Thank you so much for tuning in.
Yep.
Bye-bye. Sashay away.